His body screamed, not from pain, but from a power consuming him from within. You saw the ninth tail manifest, an orange fury licking his limbs, but a chilling shiver ran down your spine because this was a curse. Dude, just a few hours earlier, Konoha's ground was cracking under Isshiki's blows, and the village was in ruins because Naruto couldn't keep going. The Seventh Hokage was breathing with difficulty. Every movement was a struggle, and his blue eyes lost their light as Boruto and Sasuke watched, motionless. Naruto knew the end was near, and so he made his choice, the hardest one, because it wasn't just a farewell, it was a sacrifice. He looked at Boruto, a chilling decision etched on his face, and whispered, "You will carry a legacy, but also a burden no one can imagine." You feel the tension as Kurama, with a heavy growl, prepared for the transfer, an ancient ritual, a dangerous bargain that didn't only guarantee power. Boruto recoiled, his blue eyes wide. He didn't want this, but Naruto's hand touched his chest, forcing the fusion because there was no other way. A dense flow of chakra, an extreme burning sensation, and then Naruto's voice echoed in Boruto's mind, a final warning about the power and the cost. They merged, and Boruto felt the fox's brutal power, an overwhelming force coursing through his veins, but something twisted inside. The ancestral curse manifested, a dark aura contrasting with the orange chakra, a warning that this power was a double-edged sword. And then, the fox's whisper echoed, and Boruto realized that power came with a very high price. An explosion of black chakra ripped through Konoha's sky. The power that saved the village now destroys it, and you wonder how this was possible. An electric shock went through his body the second the fusion ended, dude. His mind tried to reject that overwhelming presence, but Kurama's consciousness was already there, a caged beast growling in the prison of his being. The orange chakra pulsed, but something cold and dark intertwined, like a deadly shadow engulfing the vital light. You feel an internal struggle beginning, a brutal tug-of-war within his own soul, where each side pulled with immense force, threatening to tear him apart without mercy. And then the first incident happened. A crack opened in the ground of a busy street, but the asphalt didn't give way due to an earthquake. It exploded from an uncontrollable chakra wave. No one knew what it was, but a chill ran through the village because Isshiki's wound was still wide open. You felt the guilt consuming him, a power meant to protect, now silently creating chaos, a premonition of something far greater to come. Boruto clenched his fists, trying to suppress the beast, but the thoughts weren't just his anymore, because bestial whispers invaded his mind, calling for carnage. Kurama's rage, that primal instinct to destroy, mixed with his own frustration and an unknown thirst for power burned in his veins. It was a constant conflict, a battle to keep his own identity intact against the beast settling inside. But the beast demanded freedom, and an even stronger tremor shook Konoha's outskirts, toppling trees and terrifying the population, because a violent chakra was manifesting. That uncontrollable power pulsed from Boruto, a dark warning that the curse was taking over, and you realize with each moment he loses more control. This wasn't Naruto's power. Man, this was something far darker. Sasuke was on standby, his Sharingan eyes analyzing the damaged area, sensing a chakra that was both familiar and terrifyingly strange. He didn't just see the fox's energy, but a dark contamination, a malicious essence infiltrating, a threat that transcended Isshiki himself. The urgency was palpable, because if Boruto lost control, all of Konoha would be in mortal danger again. Boruto felt the pressure mount, Kurama's voice becoming a deafening roar, demanding total control over his body and mind. The curse manifested in flashes of darkness in his aura, and you see the bestial impulses becoming irresistible, almost making him attack an innocent. He could barely breathe, because with each passing second, the barrier between him and the beast grew weaker, and terror set in for good, a new threat forming. Then, a primal growl escaped Boruto's throat, and a pulse of corrupted chakra exploded, hitting an abandoned tower that collapsed in seconds. His eyes widened at the destruction, and for an instant, you swear you saw a shadowy figure smile amidst the smoke, before everything went dark for him. Boruto was no longer in control, and Konoha felt the true weight of the curse. The tower's destruction echoed in Boruto's chest, a silent scream of horror. Emptiness took hold, But the darkness within him took on an ancient form. That wasn't just Kurama's power, dude. It was the curse revealing itself. The village was on high alert because secondary explosions continued, not from enemies, but from Boruto's uncontrolled chakra. You felt the fear hanging heavy, as the villagers' gazes were no longer of gratitude for the savior, but of panic before the destroyer. A new shock wave threatened to shatter the few remaining structures, and he needed to stop it, but he couldn't, man. Boruto's eyes burned with an intense red, but it wasn't Sasuke's Sharingan or Naruto's Sage Mode. It was the color of pure fury, a raw energy that flickered. His muscles tensed, and he could hear ancient voices, whispers in a dead language, urging him to devastate, to unleash the ancestral rage that now completely possessed him, an endless torment. Sasuke finally intervened, his partial Susanoo materializing, but he wasn't attacking Boruto. He was containing him because he saw the shadowy figure smiling in the smoke. That was an ancient seal, dude, a chakra that didn't belong to Isshiki or any recent enemy, but to an ancestral entity, a malevolent presence using Kurama as a bridge to destruction. Boruto felt Sasuke's containment. A wave of lucidity hit him amidst the possession, and then he perceived the manipulation, the voice that wasn't Kurama's, but something older and more sinister. He needed to fight, not just the fox, but this new parasite, because if he didn't, not just Konoha, but the entire world would be in extreme danger, man. The curse was just the tip of the iceberg. An internal and external battle unfolded, with Boruto struggling against his own body, as waves of corrupted chakra continued to emanate from him, hitting Sasuke's Susanoo. The pressure was unsustainable, and cracks began to appear in the purple chakra armor, showing that not even the strongest Uchiha could hold it back for long. His friends were in danger, dude. In a brief moment of lucidity, Boruto heard the name Shikaku amidst the ancestral whispers, a crucial piece of information that escaped the malevolent entity. He knew that Shikaku, the one-tailed beast, held knowledge about ancient seals and curses because its roots were very old, and perhaps it could offer the key to unraveling the mystery before it was too late. He needed answers, but the ancestral voice laughed, a dry and malicious sound, revealing that Boruto's connection to Kurama was now a portal, and with each passing second, the entity grew stronger, more present. Boruto's corrupted power intensified, overcoming Sasuke's containment, and Kawaki's figure appeared on the horizon, with a look of pure resolve and sadness, holding a sharp sword, ready for a terrible sacrifice. Boruto's curse was no longer just his, man, but part of a dark lineage, and Kawaki's sword gleamed because the time for the final decision had arrived. You saw the eyes of the Black Kyuubi, and Boruto's chakra was no longer his. It was pure chaos. Dude, the body that once saved everyone now threatened to destroy everything. And you wondered how he even got to this point, beyond salvation. The deadly gleam of Kawaki's sword cut through the air, a blade ready for the unthinkable, because the curse was completely consuming Boruto, and hope was fading. You felt Kawaki's anguish, every fiber of his body screaming "no" to what he had to do. But the ancestral voice mocked from within Boruto, demanding more destruction. It wasn't betrayal that guided his blade, but a desperate act to save what remained of his brother. A choice between two unbearable pains, a double-edged sword plunged into his own heart. Boruto realized Kawaki's blade was advancing, not to kill him, but to free him from the curse consuming him from within, and an electric shock ran through his entire mind. He saw flashes of the future, a Konoha in ashes by his own corrupted hands, and the bitter acceptance that he had to do something, because there was no more time for hesitation, dude. But the ancient entity laughed, a sound that chilled Kawaki's very soul, and an even more violent pulse of black chakra exploded from Boruto, repelling the sword with brutal force. The curse wasn't just on Boruto. It had deeply rooted itself in his essence, because its control was spreading like poison, making any salvation impossible from the outside. Amidst that chaos and destruction, the memory of the name Shikaku echoed in Boruto's mind, a faint light in the hell he was becoming, a desperate chance for a turning point. He realized he needed to absorb that corrupted power and not fight against it, to turn the tables on the entity, because only then could he perhaps have one last chance at control. You see Boruto close his eyes, a grim decision on his face, not of defeat, but of a dangerous acceptance of what he was about to become, a monster to save everyone. He would no longer be the Boruto everyone knew, but the host of an unspeakable force, the final Jinchuuriki who would use darkness to fight against darkness, a path of no return to the light. A guttural and primal howl escaped Boruto's throat, and the black chakra manifested in its most brutal form, covering his body like a dark and furious armor. The ninth tail formed, not orange, but an abyssal black that devoured the very light around it, and the air grew heavy because the final transformation was underway, unstoppable and terrifying. Sasuke screamed, not from anger or pain, but from pure despair, because the Susanoo was cracking under the pressure of that new form of the Black Kyuubi that Boruto was becoming, a terrifying sight. He realized that Kawaki's plan had failed miserably, and that the world was about to face a type of power that not even Naruto himself could contain. The voice of the macabre entity echoed victoriously, filling Boruto's mind with promises of unlimited power and destruction, trying to subjugate him and completely corrupt his soul. But a small flame of Boruto still burned brightly in his heart, a final resistance to not get lost in the darkness. Because he knew the real battle would begin now, within himself, dude. You saw Boruto's red eyes glow amidst the darkness, an untamed mix of fury and pure determination, and the Black Kyuubi let out a roar that echoed throughout the entire village, announcing a new and terrifying era of chaos. The Black Kyuubi's roar ripped through the sky, and Konoha's ground trembled under an energy that was pure darkness, a force that wasn't life, but void. You felt the cold air, the smell of burnt ozone, because Boruto's transformation wasn't just visual, it was a structural change in chakra itself, something never before seen in the ninja world, dude. The ancestral entity mocked, thinking it had total control, but Boruto fought in the depths of his own being, a battle of wills that ignited his soul. He wasn't trying to suppress the Black Kyuubi. Instead, he was channeling it, using the beast's fury as a shield and the darkness as a weapon against the parasite, a plan far too risky. Sasuke saw Boruto's eyes gleam with a cold intelligence amidst that beast, and he realized it wasn't a possession. It was a pact, a terrible symbiosis. The Susanoo finally dissolved into chakra particles, and the real threat wasn't Boruto, but what he would conceal within himself, a ticking time bomb about to explode in the heart of the village. Boruto felt the pain of the complete fusion, not physical, but the loss of his essence, pieces of his humanity unraveling with each pulse of black chakra. He dominated the Black Kyuubi, but Kurama's voice was now a distant echo, and the malevolent entity, realizing the maneuver, unleashed one last barrage of lies, revealing its ancestral name and origin. I am Minomen, the shadow of seals, and I was sealed alongside Shikaku for ages, waiting for a host like you. The voice whispered, an ancient echo that chilled the soul, revealing the sinister connection. The curse wasn't just a power. It was a parasitic entity that fed on the chakra of the tailed beasts and human despair, an ancestral plague that was now within Boruto. Boruto, then, did the unthinkable. He didn't try to expel Yami no Omen, but to absorb it, integrating shadow and light into a single being. Shikaku's whispers, which he had heard before, were the key to understanding the sealing and the very nature of the parasite, and Boruto used this knowledge to reverse the curse, transforming it into his own strength. An explosion of black and white chakra erupted, not destroying, but reorganizing the chaos, and Boruto emerged with a form that was the perfect fusion of all his forces, his Jogan glowing with an alien intensity. His aura was a perfect balance between void and life, and the ninth tail, now translucent, pulsed with a power never before seen in the ninja world, dude. Kawaki lowered his sword, his eyes wide with astonishment, because Boruto was no longer the monster, but something new, something that transcended both Naruto and Sasuke, a terrifying hope. The village was silent, not from fear, but from awe and incomprehension, because they were witnessing the birth of an era, the emergence of the final Jinchuuriki, a historic turning point. The cost was high, and Boruto's laugh, once full of light, now had a hoarse tone, an echo of the shadows he had absorbed, a constant reminder of his new nature. He was a guardian, but also an abyss, and true peace would only come with eternal vigilance, because Yami no Omen's power still resided, waiting for a weakness to awaken again. Boruto, the final Jinchuuriki, stopped the destruction, but his existence changed the ninja world forever. Dude, creating a new power dynamic and a solitary path. He knew the future would bring new challenges, new enemies, but now he was ready, a weapon against the darkness, with a heavy burden and an unwavering purpose, the personification of the new era. And if you like this insane saga of Kurama's curse, dude, hit that like button now and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next theories and stories that will blow your mind. And of course, there's another video waiting for you right here on the channel, so go check it out. That's it for now. Thanks for following along on this breathtaking journey. Peace out.